Being a YouTube video essay funny man, I like using music in my videos because it sounds nice, and sometimes I use the music in a creative way. However, there is a little issue with music. It's art. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that. And something worth noting about art is that it's made by humans. At least, if you want that art to be socially acceptable. If an AI tries making art, then it's shunned by Twitter. So right now, art is made by humans. Now, when you create art, you're automatically given a copyright to that art, which means you have the right to distribute that art and nobody else does, unless, of course, they distribute it in a way that's fair use. That's a way for people to distribute art that isn't theirs, but not be held liable for spooky copyright infringement. Fair use requires very specific qualifying factors to be met in order to be considered fair use. The thing is, though, purposes of criticism, parody, news reporting, and a few other things aren't necessarily things that can cover you if you use copyrighted music as background music for your YouTube videos. I mean, you could try using one of these 4 factors that are also taken into consideration when determining fair use. You totally could claim that you talking over a quiet version of the song doesn't harm the original market, because nobody would want to listen to a song like that. Well, I mean, that's kind of desperate, if I'm being honest. Especially if the song you're using in the video has nothing to do with what you're talking about at all. Arguing fair use like that is kind of like pulling out to not get them pregnant. I mean, technically it's possible it'll work in your favor, but like, come on. On top of that, if YouTube detects that you're using copyrighted material, regardless of whether or not it's fair use, your video will be copyright claimed and all of the money will just go to the rights holders. Or your video will just be blocked and not viewable, rendering all the time you spent making the video worthless, you fucking idiot. Why are you even trying? This claim system on YouTube is very annoying for many people, including me, because if you're using music or any other copyright claimable art in a way that is undeniably fair use, like review or parody, and thus doesn't require the permission from the original artist or royalties or licenses to be paid to the original artist, YouTube doesn't care and will give him all your money anyway. Of course, assuming you don't fight it. They take the guilty until proven innocent approach. I mean, yeah, I obviously understand why this content ID system is here. There's genuinely like 3.5 years worth of content uploaded to YouTube every hour, and obviously within those 3 years of content is going to be copyright infringement and stuff that isn't fair use at all. And so because of the law, they have to like find a way to take that down or make it benefit the original creators. But just because there is a reason for this to be here doesn't mean it isn't annoying for people who make fair use content, like me. Anyway, considering how long this content ID system has been here, it seems like it'll continue to be here for the rest of time. So one thing I could do in my videos is just not use music, which I'm not going to do. Fuck that shit. Another thing I could do if I do want to use music, and I do think I am within fair use, is just try getting around the copyright bots. I have certain editing tricks and patterns I employ to not get claimed by YouTube's content ID bots whenever I use movie footage or music or whatever. However, I only do it when I believe I'm within fair use protections, and I don't do it to try to sneak copyright infringement past the YouTube TSA. When I try to avoid getting claimed, that's because I think I'm under fair use and I don't need permission or need to pay royalties to the original creator to release my work. Now, I'm not going to tell you the tricks I use because I think YouTube would get mad at me, so I'm just going to keep quiet for now. I feel like talking about this for even 10 seconds at a time will get me in trouble with YouTube. Now, I just said that I tend to try to avoid claims. However, I could also just like not do that as well. I could instead just not even try to get around the copyright system and just fight the claims when I get them. I wish I didn't get sick before I had to record a bunch of pickup lines. How that works is you send a dispute telling them it's fair use, and then they have 30 days to respond. They could take your claim off, but they won't. And after they don't take off the claim, you can send an appeal, which they have to respond to within 7 days. If they don't, then goodbye claim. They can also take the claim off themselves again here, but they won't. Them rejecting your appeal and not taking the claim off brings your video down. So either you give up or you send a counter notification, a legal request to reinstate your video, which removes the strike and brings back the video. By sending the counter notification, the owner of the copyrighted content within 10 business days has to provide evidence that they're taking legal action to keep your video down. So this is the step you're most likely to win, as most companies typically don't want to sue YouTubers, though they totally still could. So I would not recommend doing this unless you know you're 100% in the legal right. This is also the same way with footage, and is the only thing I'd personally feel confident in fighting to the the end because it's much easier to be covered under fair use using movie clips than music. You can mute the clips while you're talking over them, cut frequently, and typically reviews don't show the entire unedited movie in a review, even if they're going scene by scene. So obviously, all of that copyright shit isn't super desirable to many people because it's pretty scary. In fact, copyright would have been my Halloween costume this year, but I'd probably cause mass genocide from the amount of heart attacks. So what am I to do if I want to use music in my video and not get copyright claimed? Well, one solution we have is to just license cheap music for our videos. To use copyrighted music without having to deal with claims or potential lawsuits, you typically have to pay a license. I mean, you still might get claimed because it's like an automatic process, but because you have the license, you can just make it go away by telling YouTube or the claimant that you have the license to use it. I've only ever seen one YouTuber actually do this, and that's Pyrocynical, who made a YouTube video about the game Total Chaos. I'm sure other YouTubers have done it, I just don't remember good. Anyway, something Pyrocynical likes to do is, well, a lot of things, to be honest, but one of them is to include a sort of trailer or montage at the end of his long-form videos about whatever he reviewed. Previous times he's used copyrighted music, he's asked permission and the creators allowed it without payment. However, at the end of his Total Chaos review, he wanted to use a song by Colin Stetson, which he was fine with, but the people who aren't Colin Stetson, who own the rights, said, pay us $8,000.
Now, what I've done in the past when getting copyrighted music, I've gone ahead and asked the rights holders, like, hey, can we use this? Now, we approached Colin's management, and they were like, yeah, that's totally fine, not a problem. I mean, there's a small problem. We don't actually own the rights to the music at all. We sold it on to rights holders. I don't think I can legally say how much they want, but it's around the 10 G's mark. 8K. They want £8,000 sterling to use that.
You're so brain dead.
Which he did. Was it worth it? I don't know. But the point here is that this is rare. It's rare to see a YouTuber actually pay rights to use music, evident by the people who call him stupid for doing this in the first place.
I've been told multiple times by my own management, by friends, by family, you are a complete moron. Drop this outro montage.
However, like I mentioned before, there's music that you can use that is cheaper to license and in far bigger quantities. Paying for a license already isn't efficient if you aren't a movie with a budget of more than $8,000 or a YouTuber that can afford to drop a similar amount of money on your furry porn commissions. But even ignoring that, paying the license for just one song seems even more inefficient. Luckily, we have Epidemic Sound, a name that was a lot less unfortunate before 2020. This is a website where you can pay a monthly or yearly subscription fee and then use any of the music in your YouTube videos. Well, I mean, as long as it isn't just you re-uploading the song without any video content to go along with it. There are many YouTubers who use this service, and I would also like to consistently use it once they have enough money to pay for the subscription fee. I used up my free trial of this service to upload this video, so hope it was worth it. Future editing Kai. There's actually quite a few songs on here that I wouldn't mind using in the background of videos and that I have because I'm not wasting this free trial. However, what if I also can't afford the subscription fee after my free trial expires? What if I'm poor and I don't want to sell my collection of VHS tapes for the ability to use MacLeod or Dylan Slitts songs endlessly in the background of my multi-hour long video essays on why things you like are actually bad? Okay, well, I guess I could make my own music. Yeah, there's some YouTubers who've done that. jacksfilms makes a series called Yai, but you might be unaware of the fact that he's also talented. That was a joke, I promise. jacksfilms has made a shit ton of music for his channel and sometimes reuses music in his videos. Your Grammar Sucks uses an instrumental version of his song, epic Harry Potter song.
Childhood slowed down, Uncle kinda scary till Hagrid burst through the door and said, "You're a wizard, Harry."
He looked like a Snape. Snap is Alan Richman. Elia Rickman.
Though, this probably wasn't what you imagined I meant when it comes to YouTubers making their own music. I think you probably thought I meant YouTubers specifically making music for the background of their video essay or documentary videos, which is also what I originally intended by that line. I just wanted to make that jacksfilms talented joke. Two YouTubers that come to mind that fall into that category are LEMMiNO and Ahoy, documentary style YouTubers with stylish voices and a release schedule to challenge Valve. Now, the reason they made their own music for videos is probably not because they don't feel like paying for any. That was just a way for me to transition into talking about people who make their own music. The reason they likely make their own music is for tone setting purposes, as they put a lot of effort into their video presentations, and sometimes you just can't find music that sets the tone you want.
Let me take you back to 1981. Back when arcade games were at their peak. A multi-billion-dollar industry and a fever that had a grip on pop culture.
What was the puzzle for? Who was behind it? What happens when you reach the end? However, as it later turned out, this was only the beginning.
Now sometimes YouTubers who make their own music release the music under a Creative Commons license, which means you can use the music freely like Epidemic Sound, only you don't have to pay, you just have to credit them. I know LEMMiNO lets you do this with his music, and that's what you're hearing in the background right now. However, there's another issue I have with this way of using music in your YouTube videos, as in me making my own music for my YouTube videos. I'm not talented, so what am I to do if I can't pay for music and if I can't make my own? Well, I guess we'll have to resort to free shit. YouTube has an audio library of music completely free to use. And also JFK's inauguration speech for some fucking reason. Some of the music you also have to credit under a Creative Commons license, but there's also songs where you just don't have to do that. So, cool, I guess. There's also sites like Incompetech, home of Kevin MacLeod, the guy who made those songs used in all those ironic memes, considering how overused they were. However, there is an issue with these music selections though. I don't really want to use most of their music, YouTube or in Incompetech. I honestly have no clue what it is because I'm not technically knowledgeable when it comes to music, but something about a lot of free music is just unappealing to me. Like, it just doesn't work in the context of background music for a YouTube video, at least for me. A lot of the music seems context specific or isn't really super simple. It's kind of complex and distracting from me talking. I don't really have the language to communicate this effectively. It just sounds off.
Just to wear the crown. I'm pissed off at these fucking clowns.
This isn't to say that I don't like a lot of the songs. However, that is another problem too. There's just a lot of songs I don't end up liking.
At these fucking clowns.
I know this is kind of a big generalization, but whenever I go to one of these places in the hope to use a piece of music or build more of a collection I can pick from, what I tend to do is filter by genre or artist, go through their songs, pick a song, skip through it, and make a decision on whether I like it, and then make a decision on whether I may want to use it. And I'm so picky that I don't really end up finding much. I listen to bits of a song, and there's like a 50% chance I don't actively dislike it in the first place. And then there's like a 10% chance I can actually see myself using it. And then there's like a 1% chance I actually end up doing so. I have starred a few songs on YouTube's audio library and downloaded a few songs from Incompetech, but I don't really use them. This isn't even limited to like free music though. I kind of go through a similar experience when looking through Epidemic Sound whenever I window shop or pick up music for the next time I have a license. Only difference is that I like a lot more of the Epidemic Sound music. Like there's more of an 80% chance I find a song enjoyable, more of a 50% chance I can see myself using the music, and assuming I had the license activated, more of a 15% chance I actually use it. Though this is way more hypothetical because this is the first opportunity I've actually had to use the service. Also, it's worth pointing out that these aren't actual statistics. I didn't do any math of anything. It's just to give you an idea of my process or thought pattern or whatever. Anyway, the reason why this music typically sounds better to me than free stuff, I can't really tell you. I have some ideas. Maybe they have more effort put into them than other music that's completely free. Maybe the fact that you have to pay for the music means I hear it a lot less on YouTube and thus I'm not sick of hearing it everywhere. Maybe it's a placebo and there's no difference at all. Or maybe this episode's sponsored by Epidemic Sound. Click the link in the description. Now, these places aren't the only places to get free music. Some music composers just release their music through SoundCloud or Spotify or through other distribution methods, but also allow you to use it freely with credit, like the aforementioned LEMMiNO. Examples include Home and C418, among others, presumably. You know that one song I use in all of my time transitions? That's a song by Home called Resonance, which you've also heard everywhere else on the internet, which is why I only use it a second at a time. I accidentally wrote Homer into the script, and now I'm just imagining some modern shitty Simpsons episode where, like, Homer makes some vaporwave music, and goes by the name Homer. Homer also made We're Finally Landing, which is the speedrun national anthem. I originally used resonance in my time transitions as a nod to Summoning Salt because he uses Homer music very frequently, and he's a speedrun YouTuber. So, you know, speedruns, time. Yeah, well, I realize now that it'd make more sense if I used We're Finally Landing in my time transitions rather than resonance, but I've used resonance so many times at this point that I just thought, fuck it, and now the nod doesn't really make sense. I just kind of do it now. Anyway, I've also used music from C418, the composer of the Minecraft songs you actually care about. Some of his music I think works well for background music. I say some and not all because first of all, some of his music is also a bit too atmospheric for a YouTube video essay type thing. But second of all, and more severely, Minecraft is very popular. Not only have I played it for hours and days and weeks and months and years and decades, but I've also watched tons of others play it, and also tons of other people have played it anyway and used Minecraft songs in their videos. So basically the outcome is that I've heard so many Minecraft songs so many times that I'm kind of sick of them. So whenever I use C418 Minecraft music, I try to find music I haven't heard to the point of insanity. And speaking of Minecraft, video game music is another source of audio people use to avoid getting claimed, as many video game soundtracks aren't actually claimable. I have used video game music myself, and will, in all likelihood, continue to do so. However, there are a few issues I have with this avenue of using music. First of all, unless I'm actually talking about that game, a lot of video game music is way too tailor-made for the game to work in a YouTube video, at least for me. What I mean is it again falls into the category of sounding good, but it isn't really good general background music. That's fine, obviously, it's just a personal issue. However, another issue I have, which is more of a fear than anything else, and is something I think most people just kind of overlook, is that video game music is technically copyrighted too. Just because it isn't put on the Content ID cesspit doesn't mean it isn't copyrighted or that studios won't get mad at you for using the music. People being angry just seems to happen less frequently. It can still happen though, and has happened. Audible cough, Nintendo, audible cough. This one is tricky, honestly. Yeah, video game music is free, as in people upload the songs to YouTube while saying in the description, no copyright infringement intended, when that is pretty much exactly what they're doing. Also, many game companies don't put their songs on Content ID anyway, maybe because Let's Players play their games, and because those aren't the same as actually playing the games most of the time, many companies see that as free advertising rather than copyright infringement, because it is. And so discouraging that by claiming music in those videos would probably be a bad idea in their eyes. That's not the thought process for all game studios, but you know, it is for some, presumably. And I mean, regardless of the reason, many songs are on Content ID anyway. Plus, it's not like the video game music being used in the background of a video essay or epic TikTok reaction compilation will significantly hurt the sales of the video game. However, at the same time, it is their music. They have the copyright. They might be trying to sell a soundtrack, or they might just not want their music used outside their game. Just because copyright isn't being enforced as harshly doesn't mean that it's necessarily free reign to use or that it won't be enforced later. People just use their music anyway because they can get away with it right now. It's tricky stuff, man. All I know is that I'll continue to use it as long as it isn't on Content ID, which I know isn't the smartest decision, but neither is wanting to make YouTube videos in general. Anyway, as you can see from all those avenues of music usage, there are quite a few caveats, at least for me, because I'm a picky piece of shit. Now, all of this stuff isn't the case for every song, but you know, it's the patterns I've observed from being a video essay funny man. Looking for music to use isn't impossible, it's just kind of annoying. Fun fact, I have a bunch of songs downloaded on my computer that I used to use frequently, but this is a folder I've had since I started this channel. And I started this channel 4 years ago, back when I was a brain dead fuckwit. My tastes have changed a lot since then. I've also gotten sick of hearing a lot of the songs in there, so I don't actually use many of the songs in there anymore. That's another issue I have with using music in videos as a self-proclaimed picky piece of shit. This is something I was alluding to earlier. Obviously, I'm not the only YouTuber. If I was, that would make YouTube a hive of sad, pathetic, worthless content. And because I'm not the only YouTuber, that means there are other YouTubers. I bet that statement right there is updating many history books. And obviously, many other YouTubers like using music in their videos too. However, because there are only a few avenues to choose from when it comes to using music in your videos, that ends up resulting in me hearing many YouTubers using the same songs as each other because only so many of these stock music choices actually sound good and work in the context of background music for a YouTube video. So many YouTubers have used Kevin MacLeod music that using it in current year is just a joke now. And I feel kind of the same way personally about many songs I may have used if I haven't heard them so much. Like, I've heard so many people use Sonic music, Animal Crossing music, Wii Channel music, Mario music, just Nintendo music in general really, Minecraft music, as well as like the same 5 or 10 Epidemic soundtracks. And it's not that I hate the songs, it just turns me away from using those songs. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe because of repetition, maybe because those songs sound too generic now, maybe because I worry about people taking me less seriously because of my fucking music choices. I don't know. There are also cases in which I find some music I don't hear frequently, but I remember hearing one YouTuber I watch or used to watch using it at some point, and that turns me away from using that song as well, because I'm weird.
Hey you, thank you for the money. Hey you.
Did you know that the Content Cop theme song is from YouTube's audio library? I could use it completely freely, but that's the Content Cop theme. To use that music, or for me to feel justified in using that music, I would need some really specific context, like the context I just gave right now. Which brings me on to a final thing I want to bring up. Context. Okay, so I like it when video essays have style, or I guess videos in general, but video essays, at least when they're done right, are my favorite YouTube genre, so whatever. I like it when video essays have some style. Now, of course, I don't like it when video essays prioritize style over writing, which is when they're done wrong, but I always find it fun when a video essay has got both, and that's what I try to do in my videos. If you couldn't tell, I love editing. Editing is the most fun part of a video for me, and it's something I get far less bored doing for a long period of time than writing. And one thing as a video editor that I like seeing in videos is good use of music. It's fun to just have music in the background as a fun thing to listen to and help cover up that faint line of static in your audio track you didn't notice was there. But it's another level for me when a video essay person puts some effort into the music they're using and how it's presented. I like it when YouTubers play with the music volume or placement between bits of commentary to give the video a bit more flair, I guess. Something else I like hearing is whenever there's a bit of music in a clip that they're showing, they extend it to when they start talking about that clip. The Lion King trailer and the Aristocats trailer are places where I did this in the VHS Variety Hour. But then we get the Lion King trailer.
Join an unforgettable cast of delightful Disney characters.
Fun fact, I've seen this movie before a long time ago and I don't remember most of the characters. It makes the video feel more cohesive and I just like how it turns out. Another thing I like is when people match music to whatever topic they're talking about at that moment instead of just having completely unrelated music throughout the video. If you have a segment in your video where you're talking about Doctor Who, for example, and some Doctor Who music starts playing, I tend to get a kick out of that. That's what I mean by context. If I have a segment about a thing, I tend to feel justified using music from that thing. Whether it's tone, a sense of cohesion, or just a personal excuse to use music I typically wouldn't get to, I can't exactly tell you why I feel the want to do that. I just kinda do, and I like it when others do that too. Now, I know many people don't do any of that stuff out of fear of copyright, but still, there are some YouTubers who do, and I appreciate it. And all of those things are stuff I want to keep trying to do for as long as possible, on top of just putting lots of thought into the music in general. I like using music in my videos and having ideas of how to use it. I like the idea of establishing tone with music. I like the idea of making it cohesive with the video. I like the idea of playing around with its placement and volume sometimes to make the video a bit more stylish. And, you know, I like music that sounds nice. It's just a shame that all of this annoying bullshit gets in the way of my picky snob brain, and it makes figuring out music usage for a video slightly more irritating than it would otherwise if I could just do whatever I wanted. That's a fun fantasy scenario if you're a YouTube person. What would you pay outside of money to be allowed to do literally whatever you wanted in your videos, copyright be damned? I don't think I'd sell my soul for that, because I don't know what that entails necessarily. But I think I'd use a genie wish for it. Yeah, that's the conclusion. That's what I'm ending this video on. Bye-bye. Actually, wait, hold on. Assuming you've watched this video when it came out, you're probably wondering where my very long 5 Nights at Fungus video is, because I said that one was next. Well, it's not finished yet. Yeah, go figure. Apparently, I'm not good at releasing videos anymore. Luckily, though, it's not going the way of that overly long EXE Games video I wasted half of 2022 writing before putting it on hiatus. The Freddy script is actually almost finished. I just didn't finish it in time for October, because I was getting bored of writing the same video for months. So I put my efforts into this video in the meantime to fill the gap and to also just refresh myself. And in making this video, I've discovered something. The mindset I've employed for the last year when it comes to how I want to make my longer review videos is dog shit. I've been saying how I only want to focus on long form videos now, and I really do want to focus on making those, but I've let it cannibalize pretty much my whole channel as well as me personally. I basically just stopped putting my efforts into coming up with shorter video ideas and used that as an excuse to myself that I didn't want to make them anymore, and that I should just focus on making long form videos. I also had the thought that I wouldn't be able to work on short videos and long videos simultaneously, as it would slow down the speed at which they'd come out. Unfortunately for me, not having a variety of projects to work on throughout the months led to me getting really bored and the long videos becoming harder to write. So that backfired. In other words, I've been lying to myself for the last year, and as a result, this last year has been fucking shit for video output and myself. I have so many ideas for long reviews that I got carried away and made myself think that this should be the only thing I do from now on. And now, 1 year later, I have little to show for it because I haven't finished many scripts, let alone many videos. So, after some thinking and putting some efforts into non-massive projects recently, I'm still going to be working on long-form reviews. However, I no longer want them to cannibalize all the effort I put into video making. So, in other words, I stopped believing that I only want to make long videos. I still want to, but I'm not scared to also work on other videos at the same time now, even if it may take longer to finish those long-form videos. By the way, if you're confused, because I did release a few videos during this year that are shorter, I didn't actually treat those as real videos for a while. I treated those as just filler things that I didn't actually spend much time on and I didn't really put as much effort into. Or I just treated them as like not proper videos, because for some reason I feel like there's a difference between a proper video and an improper video on my channel. I don't know. So in other words, I'm going to be uploading more frequently again and putting my efforts back into making shorter videos, and I'm not going to apply the mindset that they're lesser videos anymore. I'm just gonna make videos. I'm not gonna overthink them anymore like I have been for so fucking long. Whenever I have an idea, whether it's a multi-hour review of the first Freddy's game or a video about a Google review of North Sentinel Island, I'll spend effort writing it, redrafting it, recording it, and editing it. I don't care how long it is or what the topic is or if it fits with my brand, because that's totally an established thing. I don't give a shit. I do whatever I want here, and I really need to stop pretending as though I don't or that I'm better than that. I'm just gonna put an equal amount of effort into making whatever video I want, and it just so happens, based on what I have to say about that topic, that some will take longer to finish than others. For the record, I'm not yelling at anyone specifically. I'm more so just yelling at myself and telling myself to stop being such a dumbass. So the 5 Nights at Freddy's video is coming soon. As in, eventually. However, I will also be making more videos before and after that video comes out, which aren't as long. And when I release the Freddy's video, and I start working on my next long-form video, I will still also be putting efforts into other videos and releasing those while I work on the big chunky. I'm sorry that I didn't take this approach from the start. I'm sorry that I'm an idiot. I really have no excuse for how I've been for the last year other than I'm just a fucking idiot. So I'm sorry. So I'm not telling you what video is next, because I don't know which video is next, but I can assure you it's coming soon. So, yeah. Bye-bye.